Anyways, welcome everybody. We're going to go around and introduce you to the leaders and go over the agenda here. So I'll kick it off myself. I will be leading a lot of the dialogue along with Michael and the Phoenix team as well. Joining us here for Q3 Phoenix and Milwaukee Tableau user group. So I'll kick it off myself. I've been involved with Tableau for probably now around like 6 or 7, 8 years. Joined the Milwaukee Tableau user group way back. Brandy, has been here around a little longer than me, although I won't poke her on that one along with Patrick. Yeah, so I've played several different roles from desktop analyst, report builder to backend and server side as well. So a lot of that, a lot of embedding going on as well. So let's kick it over to we can kick it over to maybe Michael. Do you want to go ahead and give an introduction?
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Hi, everyone. Michael Parillo. I am based out of Phoenix, Arizona, co-lead Phoenix Tableau user group. We've been doing this since 2013. Super excited to have everyone. As Josh mentioned, we're going to be hands-on today with Tableau Prep, Tableau Desktop, or Tableau Public, whichever you choose. I've been using Tableau now a little over a decade, certified in both Tableau Desktop, Tableau Server, kind of end-to-end. Again, really excited to have everyone. And quickly, Tiffany and Mujahid, they've just joined our leadership team, so really excited to have both them and their support.
Mujahid, do you want to go next? Kind of
Thanks,
take that hand off.
for the quick intro. Thank you, Josh. So, hey everyone, I'm Mujahid. I'm a recent master's grad from Arizona State University, and I'm based out of Tempe, Arizona. I've been using Tableau now for about 3 to 4 years, and I'm a Tableau Desktop Certified Associate and also a Tableau Student Ambassador. So I've been pretty actively involved with Tableau since I became an ambassador, and yeah, it's been great so far. Looking forward to meet everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Mujahid. Tiffany, we'll just kind of keep going through since Michael kind of teed you guys up.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany Dawson. I am based out of Phoenix. I've been working in Tableau for the last 4 or so years. Currently a business analyst, but I've been a few different types of analysts, mostly on the front end and building dashboards, and really excited to get more involved with this group.
Awesome. Great. Well, you're so excited to have kind of the two groups come together. So let's finish it off on the Milwaukee side. Patrick.
Hi, everyone. Patrick Delugash. Excited to be here. We have a really good meeting planned for you. I should say, I've been using Tableau since 2012, so almost 10 years. And I work at Northwestern Mutual, where I use Tableau to do all sorts of great things in our strategy and portfolio management. And I would also add that I've been to a few different Tableau conferences and looking forward to the virtual conference this year, but hopefully we'll get back in person real soon.
Absolutely, yeah. The in-person ones are certainly more memorable than the virtual ones, although these are different times. All right, Brandy.
Yes, hello, hi everyone, welcome. My name is Brandy Beals. I am the co-leader of the Milwaukee Tableau user group as well as the Wisconsin Tableau user group. I'm a Tableau ambassador. I'm also Tableau certified in both desktop and server. And I just hit my 10-year Tableau anniversary this summer. So I've been officially using the tool for 10 years, which is super exciting. So, but yes, like Patrick said, I mean, we have a fantastic meeting ahead. It's like, we love being able to offer opportunities to get hands-on, because there's nothing like a hands-on exercise to really bring home the concepts that we're talking about. So I'm really looking forward to that portion, I guess. I mean, I guess we have a variety of different opportunities to get hands-on. So I'm really just excited about learning more about Tableau Prep and all of the dashboarding stuff we got. So.
All right. Thanks, Brandy. All right, quickly, just kind of go over the agenda. You've all probably seen it, but we're gonna do some welcomes, some introductions, polling like we usually do on the Milwaukee side, trivia. Like as I hear from Michael, that's kind of a common activity on the Phoenix side. We're gonna jump into a demo on prep from Jake Van Hecke from Continuous, local Milwaukee. And they're originating in Milwaukee. They're not simply local though. They're all over the country. But yeah, so a consulting group that specializes in that space. Some messages, we'll get a break in there because this is a little bit of a longer meeting than we usually do. And then we'll jump into our hands-on dashboarding and then some giveaways and a wrap up for it. So again, make sure you've got desktop and prep ready to go for those hands-on activities, or simply just follow along. We're all cool here, right? Take it as you want to and go. That's what this is all about. So let's jump in and do a polling right away. So in Milwaukee, we use direct poll to do this, and I'm going to keep this up on the screen. I'm actually going to flip over to the web page that also has this. But you can use QR code. You can use the mini URL here. This is going to pop up with questions that Patrick's going to lead us through. So let me get the browser pulled up, because this is actually going to show us the live results. So the results will come back live, and then
Drop the link in the chat too.
Yes, the link is in the chat. Thank you.
Because this is, just such a wonderful URL.
It is, and it's case sensitive, which always gets me. Yeah, it's a pain. Yeah, so we'll just kind of give just a minute or two, and then I'll jump into it and hit the play button, and then Patrick, you can go ahead and do that. So
Sounds good.
all right, I'm sure everybody's got a chance to do that. So we're gonna go ahead with the first question. Actually, I gotta fire mine up too.
Yeah, so and as we mentioned earlier, we got a number of people from various parts of the country. We're co-hosting between the Milwaukee and Phoenix Tableau user groups. So hopefully we've got a number represented there. I know we also have a number of guests from the Twin Cities Tableau user group that are joining in as well. And if you're not a member of a TUG, reach out to your local Tableau user group and get on the list.
All right, looks like voting's winding now. Move to the next one.
So we're going to be shortly in the agenda taking a look at Tableau Prep. So I just want to get an idea of how many people are familiar with Tableau Prep. Are you a user? So do you have it and use it? Do you have it, but maybe you don't use it for whatever reason? And maybe you've heard of it, but don't have it, or maybe you haven't heard of it at all. So it looks like we have a fair number that looks like about half of us have it at least, and about a fourth of us are actually using it. A lot of us not using it or haven't or don't have it. So I think hopefully we're going to learn a lot from Jake in a few minutes on Tableau Prep. All right, as I mentioned earlier in my intro, the conference is going to be virtual this year. It's November 9th through the 11th. Perhaps you've seen an email or two on it already. So are you planning to attend the virtual conference and be all in, so as much as you can, or are you planning to attend and maybe just be able to make a session or two, and then or maybe at this point you're not planning to attend or unsure? It was good to see that most of us are planning to attend in some capacity. So the next one, how are you using Tableau? We want to know, do you use Tableau or some other tool perhaps? Obviously not as great as Tableau if you are, but do you create dashboards? So either, yes, I create dashboards on a regular basis. Yes, but infrequently, or no, I do not create dashboards at all. So later on in the meeting, we're going to be doing a little dashboard work. So hopefully we'll be able to all learn from each other in that workshop. And then when you're building dashboards, what are your sources for dashboard inspiration? Maybe you've got some books, and I believe you can choose more than one on this one. Maybe you got some great reference books. There's so many that are out there now. You use Tableau Public Gallery. Maybe subscribe to the daily Tableau viz. Maybe you just use your own inner magic, your own inspiration from what's in your head. And in some cases, maybe you're forced to use a certain template that's provided by your company. So you get your sort of default inspiration from that or other. So it looks like there's a lot of people that are doing a combination of probably Public Gallery and your own inner magic or some reference books. It's great. All right, this one is to wrap up here with a fun question here of who's going to win the next NBA championship? It's going to be the Bucks again. Maybe Phoenix gets back there and gets it this year. As I mentioned, we have some friends from the Twin Cities Tableau user group here today. How many think Minnesota Timberwolves are going to get there? Or is it going to be some completely other team? I think we have some biased opinions here, obviously, with many people in the Milwaukee user group.
I think there's some double voting going on.
What, on the Bucks side, Michael?
Oh
Huh?
yeah, absolutely. Maybe triple voting.
I think so. Maybe it's probably just dreams since it's been so many years. Although, when was the last time the Suns were back there? Were there?
Oh, who was it?
They never won.
90. Yeah,
Did they?
never. Yeah. Oh no.
All right, I think that was the last question. Josh, thank you everyone for participating.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thank you, Patrick. So that's it. I'll go ahead and stop that. Go back to the slide presentation. So yeah, that's Patrick did mention so we did hear word that Minneapolis was going to crash our tug. So if you're from Minneapolis, go ahead and give a shout out in chat. Actually was born in Minneapolis, so a little bit of a good Hennepin Community Hospital there. So good shout out there, good place. We also have folks from across Arizona and in the Southwest as well. So anyone from Tucson or Flagstaff or any of those areas, welcome. So, hi Nina, nice to see you. So glad you guys could crash. Maybe we'll return the favor. Tucson, there you go. Oh, awesome. So moving along, next. I think we're going to jump into some trivia, and Michael, I'm going to turn this over to you and your team to lead this. Just let me know if you need me to do anything on my side.
All right. So through in the chat, there's a few ways that you can participate. Again, direct link. If you're on your mobile device and want to do that, you can go to the website menti.com. There's a code up on the screen, also in the chat, 9442-3951. So I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen and give it about a minute or so. And all right, so starting to get some people. Again, if you're all seeing my screen, hopefully it's not too distorted. Got one of those wide monitor things, but go out to menti.com. Code is 9442-3951. And we'll get started in about 30 seconds or so. All right, give me just a moment here. Trying to get this thing to start.
Everybody, I think we're just waiting for folks to come in. So if you're looking for the link again, Michael did post it. Randy Beal, so Michael did post it above. So I think someone was asking about the barcode. So I think you can use either the direct link from the menti.com/7cb, etc., or you can go to the URL and then enter in the code 9442 space 3951. Again, it's up in chat and post that again.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, another 5 seconds, we'll get started. So the way I like to do trivia, we're gonna actually learn some things about the topics of the day. So Tableau Prep, test your knowledge, maybe teach you some things, as well as some dashboard design. All right, everybody ready? Let's get started. If you answer right, more points you get. What is Tableau Prep? All right, fantastic. Yes, it is a visual application to clean and shape your data. So this is a separate product from Tableau Desktop. While you can do some data preparation in Tableau Desktop, which you're going to see from Jake in a little bit here, how pretty awesome it is. If you are a creator and you hold that license, you do actually get to use Tableau Prep. If you are on a legacy license model, where you do have Tableau Desktop, you can use Tableau Prep and run that as a trial. So do take a look. It is a pretty amazing application. Tableau Prep is available under which licensing tier? Absolutely, creator. So just mention that. So there's 3 tiers in the role-based licensing for Tableau: creator, explorer, and viewer. The creator is where you're really doing a lot of your development, and that's where they package Tableau Desktop and Tableau Prep Builder as part of that package. Good job, everyone. All right, next question. Tableau Prep is available as a trial. Absolutely. It is available as a trial, so whether you have a creator or not, you can run that in the trial mode for 30 days. So if you like what you see today from the demo and you haven't downloaded the software, go out to the website, download it, start playing. Tableau Prep supports running scripts. So scripts like R, Python. Absolutely, yes. Tableau Prep does allow for you to integrate Python scripts and R scripts. If you're doing anything like that, check it out. Pretty amazing. Bring that data set right into your workflow, output that to Tableau. Tableau Prep is available to design and run on which platforms? So we talked about the opportunity to download. should actually be all of them. Not sure what happened with the Mac, but Tableau Prep is cross-platform on Mac and Windows. It is also available in browser. So for those of you that are creators and have Tableau server, that creator license again grants you the ability to use both Tableau Desktop and Tableau Prep. It is in the web. It's baked in. It is, the parity is spot on. So if you don't want to download a thick client onto your machine and you are using Tableau server or Tableau online, you can actually build and create those flows within the browser. So something to definitely check out. All right, so let's see where we are at this halfway point. All right, looks pretty close. Good stuff. All right, let's move on to some dashboard design questions. Maybe one more prep. The current versions of Tableau Prep can output flows to which file type? Got to read the questions carefully. Yes. So the TDE was actually a file that was supported by Tableau Prep, but as of recent versions, Hyper is the standard now. So if you are using a newer version of Tableau Prep, you will not have that TDE output option. So current version was kind of that trick there. But yes, you can output out to a database. There are multiple flavors that you can output to CSVs, Excel files even. Not your XLS, but your XLSX, the newer version of Excel and Hyper files. All right, so now we're on to dashboard design. All right, for those of you that are desktop savvy, which are the best principles to include in a dashboard design? Absolutely, all of them. In fact, if you go out and Google, best practices, dashboard design, Tableau, there's a number of articles, even in their help files, knowledge bases. There's a list of a dozen or so topical areas that you want to focus on for good principles and practices around dashboard design. These four absolutely at the top. You want to focus on who your audience is, context, start, voice. Most importantly, at least the server admin side, performance. I think Brandy can appreciate that too. All right, next question. It is best practice to provide as many views as needed in order to provide your dashboard insight. Well, yes. So we get this request quite a bit. For people want to see everything all crammed into one dashboard so they can see the big picture. What we find is that really complicates the ability to assess and inform. Trying to keep things simple to around 3 or 4 pieces of information per dashboard really helps concentrate information. So do limit the amount of information that you're trying to share. And Tableau allows for dashboard extensibility using what? Absolutely, extensions. The extensions have been around a little while. They're just starting to revamp the extension gallery. So if you're not familiar with what extensions are, they're essentially things that you can build or download or buy. There is an extension gallery, extensiongallery.tableau.com. check it out. You can start to incorporate applications and functionality that may or may not have anything to do with your dashboard. Chatbot, order form, talking to your data and sending that back to maybe an ERP or some other platform. But extensions that are out there, pretty amazing, gives you some real good insights on extending the capabilities of Tableau beyond just the visualization itself. All right, we're slowly wrapping up. Again, the faster you answer correctly, the more points you earn. What selection is not part of the marks card? Right, so in the marks card, you've got your color, size, and label, the show me, right off onto that upper right-hand corner, where it shows you what type of charts are available based on your selection of data. All right. Parameters. Anyone using those? They can be used across multiple data sources in a workbook. That's true or false? I actually came across this question this morning on a forum. So absolutely. There is a knowledge base article. We'll walk you through it. So if this is something you're struggling with, you got the information right there. Tableau's provided you how to make this happen. All right, last question. Tableau formatting is applicable at the workbook level only. Where can we format? Is this true or false? False. You can absolutely format at the workbook level, dashboard level. You got full flexibility across board within the views or so forth. So, great job. Option 3, yes, that did not exist. All right, Brandy, I think you are disqualified. So, Nick, Nicole, congratulations, Brandy. Nice work. Doesn't count, but Nicole, Nick, Karen, top 3, congratulations. Hopefully this was fun. Hopefully you learned something. And again, we do this at Phoenix all the time. So great way to learn, have fun, engage. And I'm done. Gosh, turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun. So let me share my screen again and then we'll keep rolling because we got a full meeting for you all planned here. So that was just the start of things. Kicking it off, a lot of fun. That was good. So thank you. Thanks, Michael, for sharing that. I like the 2 different approaches and getting to know your audience and things like that. So this is really good. Awesome to see new things. So, all right, let's jump right back into the hands-on stuff. Somewhat hands-on. You guys could do like a follow-along sort of kind of workshop presentation type of mode. Jake Van Hecky is going to take us here. I pulled this right off your LinkedIn. So if you don't like it, Jake, change your LinkedIn, okay?
I was
or
wondering
send
why
me
you
a
were looking at
slide.
my LinkedIn.
Anyway, so I will jump into the next slide and you can kind of take us through these pieces if you want to do this piece first or if you want to do your demo first and then these pieces. So
yeah, we can hop into this first. I just have 4 slides on continuous because I feel like if I didn't speak about my employer, I'd be a bad employee. So this first slide is talking about who continuous is. At the top, it says, who the heck are we? And then this next slide talks about like when we were established. We've been around for about 10 years, which when I was looking at this seemed like a very short time frame, but it's 2021 already, which is wild. So 10 years. Wow, look at us. We're located in Milwaukee, but I live in Salt Lake City. So we've got consultants all around the US. And then we're trying to be a data hub, not only for the Midwest, but for anywhere. So we have monthly data meetups, Snowflake meetups, and those involve not only Tableau, but a lot of other technologies and a lot of other information. So if you're interested, check out our website and you can hop on one of those. The last point, we are in fact data experts. I feel like we'd be pretty bad consultants if we were not data experts. So we are data experts. I think the final slide I have. Yeah, so this talks about what we do. Data management, data delivery, data intelligence, and product implementation. I'm mostly in the data delivery and data intelligence lane. And that's kind of where we'll focus today with Tableau Prep and data preparation. So the last slide is kind of just a contact sheet. I can't imagine everyone's racing to their phones to follow us on Instagram, but if you do, we post a lot of good content there, and follow us on LinkedIn so you can get info about those meetups. And then, yeah, I'll see you at the next one, I guess. That's all I have about continuous. Josh, do you mind if I take the screen?
Yeah, you can go ahead and take the screen, and then while you're taking the screen, also I saw that there was a question in the chat, Jake, about folks using Alteryx, and I just know that because of the history with continuous and yourself that there's some differences between the two. So just a prep question once we get to the point of Q&A, maybe speak about the differences between some of these tools and where and when and how you'd like to use it. So just tee that one up for folks in chat. And if you do have questions while Jake's going through here, or you have questions around something that you're doing while following along, because again, we want people to follow along, post them in the chat. I'll keep an eye on the chat, Jake, and I'll try to kind of call that out as they come, or raise your hand. I don't know if they have a raise your hand feature in here. All these different tools are changing all the time.
Yeah.
But I'll keep an eye on chat for you. So.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I don't mind starting off with that one. I think it leads into Tableau Prep pretty well. When I went to study abroad my senior year of college, I asked one of my uncles who I really look up to if I should get like a nice camera so that I can take nice pictures and remember everything pretty well. And he was like, no, absolutely don't waste your money on that. Spend it on experiences. I always say the best camera is the one that you have on you, which I feel like is a good analogy when talking about Tableau Prep and Alteryx. I think Alteryx is like a better end-to-end solution. It has a lot more capability, but if this is what you have access to and you don't need an Alteryx, it's a fantastic tool to accomplish some of your data preparation needs. So yeah, let's hop into this demo. If you've never seen Tableau Prep before, I'll give you a little bit of an overview. It should look pretty similar to Tableau, Tableau Desktop. So you've got like the data connection pane over here. You've got the icons that should look pretty familiar from Tableau. The feel is pretty similar to the data connections pane, or the first screen that you'd see in Tableau. And that's exactly what you're doing here. You're adding data connection. So I've got 3 in here so far. I've got game 1, which is essentially game 1 of the NBA Finals through game 6 of the NBA Finals. I'm replacing something later on. We'll get to that. And then I've got some player salary information. We'll also get to that. Before we get into the details, though, I wanted to highlight this. These are all the connections that you can have in Tableau Prep. So you can see, you can connect to files. But I think the bigger thing is connecting to servers, because then you can get to an ideal state in your analytics platform where you don't really have to touch anything. Tableau Prep has I think it's called Conductor, but it's basically the ability to schedule your workflows and they'll run automatically. So you can build this process that does this very specific thing and takes data from here, puts it in anywhere, Tableau server, and then you can kind of forget about it. So my first data input here is exactly what I said earlier for the games. So I have all of these files in my folder, games 1 through 6, not in that order, but I'm pulling them all in at once with a wildcard union. And that's pretty cool because I can pull files that have the same structure in all at the same time. And as long as I specify that I want them to include game, and then I throw this wildcard character there, it will pull in all those files at once. If I take that off, you'll see down here at the bottom, Tableau Prep is going to give me a little preview of what files it's pulling in. And once it loads, I have all those files. And I don't want this one yet, and I don't want this one yet. So I really just need game at the front of this.
Hey,
Okay.
Jake, question for you. When you're scheduling, you mentioned the conductor. Is that something you have to have server for, or can they
I
run
believe so.
locally? Okay, that's what I thought.
I don't know exactly, but
It's
my
a
best
server
guess is
product.
yes.
Yeah, there is no
Okay.
desktop automation. Well, there is sort of. Hokey. Don't do it.
Yeah. I feel like for a lot of the tools, it's a big no-no. Not very sustainable. Okay, so this next piece here is just a generic cleansing step, clean step. I'm doing a couple things here. I'm creating some calculated fields to clean up a couple string fields I have. It looks kind of intense, but it's really just looking for, at the end of the player names, the data that I got is a little bit messy and it has their position. So I'm just pulling that out into a new field called position. And this window that pops up should look pretty familiar. It should be the same layout, pretty much the same layout as Tableau Desktop. So then when I pulled the player position off, I want to trim it from the end so you can see your player here turns into player name. It just looks a little bit nicer. And then the final thing that I'm doing, which can be done multiple ways. What's the saying? There's multiple ways to peel a potato or something like that. I'm just taking off the .xlsx from the file name that came in with the wildcard input. The other way that you can do it is without creating your own calculated field. Tableau Prep allows you to click these ellipses, and then you can do a bunch of different stuff, like filter this to a calculation, selected values, a wildcard match, or null or non-null values, and then you can clean too. This stuff is pretty nice, and it's super helpful for joins, but in this example, oh wait, I'm thinking about splitting values. You can split values based on any identifier. So in this example, I would have used a period, and it would have split the game number and then the .xls, and then I would have just had to remove that field because it's unnecessary. The next thing that I'm doing is using the aggregation. And if you've used SQL before, this is similar to a group by. If you've used Tableau pretty extensively, this is similar to an LOD calculation. You're literally just aggregating total points here at the level of team and file pass, which is game number. So when I join this back to my data set, actually, I should probably touch on how you do that. The idea of Tableau Prep is very, very similar to Tableau Desktop, where it's just drag and drop. So these fields that I have grouped on, I've just dragged them from this window or this pane right here. Super simple. So then when I join it back to my data set, my overall data set, I'm joining on team and file paths. So I get at the end of this data preview, total points, which some of you might be thinking already, this is going to cause me a headache when I have to do this in Tableau. That was my goal. I want it to be a little bit of a challenge. Okay, next step. This I've renamed to rename and remove, which another great feature of Tableau Prep is you're documenting as you're building out this preparation. I'm sure a lot of you have worked in Excel where somebody on some team does this crazy thing to prepare this Excel file and then send it out. And the only way anyone's going to know how to do that is if you talk to them. It's all in their brain. All of this is documented right here. So I can add a description. I can change the name. So this step is quite literally just removing fields that I do not need and renaming fields, because I will say I decided to choose this data set because I thought it would be fun to, rip on the Phoenix Suns fans a little bit. I realize that it's a little mean now that I've gotten way into it, but as a amateur basketball fan, I did have to Google what PF stands for. I had no idea that it was personal fouls. So along with documenting each step, Tableau Prep is going to automatically document what you've changed things from and to. So it's really easy to get in and understand somebody else's work if you ever need to. The next thing I'm doing is just a real quick example of a join. I've got this tiny little lookup table. I guess you can call it a lookup table with city and team name, because I want to add not only to have Phoenix, but to have Phoenix Suns. Super simple. There's also more ways to do this. This is just the way I chose to show a join. Then I'm bringing in my third and final data set, which is player salary information. I thought that could be interesting. And then both of these steps, I'm doing a few things to create a good field to join on, or I guess an okay field to join on. Ideally, we'd have some sort of ID, but we have player names in both sides. So again, if I click on the ellipses, I can go to clean and I can remove punctuation. That's what I've done here. And on the other side, I'm doing some text editing in calculated fields to create the exact same thing, where I have this field created full name way at the bottom here. That should match up pretty well on the other side. So then here we've got a pretty good example of a left join. To create the left join, it's super simple. You just have to click visually to adjust the join to what you need. And then Tableau Prep is going to show you which fields didn't join. So unfortunately, we've lost a couple people here. Thanasis, Antetokounmpo, lost him, Bryn Forbes. But since we're doing a left join, it's still going to pull these people through, because to me and this data set, having the information on the games is more important than having the information on the salaries. So that's why we want to make sure that we're bringing everything through in our main data set. And that's why we're doing the left join. The final thing we're doing is, again, removing some fields, keeping our data set as clean and concise to exactly what we need for our analysis before we output that file to a Hyper file. Now, we talked back at the beginning about the wildcard input and connecting to a server and potentially not having to ever touch this workflow after you build it. And during this output, or in this output tool, you can save to files, a published data source, so you could save to your Tableau server, and you can write to a database, which is a relatively new feature in Tableau Prep, but it's super useful. And you can also create a table, so you could completely delete the records and then put them all in new, or you can append to a table. So I think a really good real world example is if you work with monthly data sets, somebody's dropping data sets monthly into a shared drive, and you're using that wildcard input to pull in the fields based on, like, maybe they're finance June, finance July, finance August, and you're using that wildcard input to look for files with finance in them. You're feeding it through this workflow. It's scheduled, and then it's pushing to Tableau server or database and appending those records every month. That's the dream, right? That sounds fantastic to me. So yeah, that's pretty much the prep demo. Josh, do we have any questions?
I haven't seen anything come through the chat, although I want to open this up now. So, because I know that
Sure.
people have had the file, and you might have been following along on some of this stuff. And Jake kind of went across some high level stuff and some more deep stuff. So what do we got? What's everybody's thoughts? are you in the middle of trying to tackle some of this and, and want to ask some questions? We do have the final file ready to go, right? So no worries there. But if you have a specific thing you want to highlight on, just for your own personal awareness, so now's the time an opportunity to do that. So we got Jake. Let's use him for all the money we paid him for this. So, which I think I owe him a couple beers. Yes, yeah.
I am. Michael asked a question about being able to write, R Python, I think. I've not done that because that seems a little bit heavy for this demo, but it's in here. It'd be this script option. You can also run some sort of predictive workflows. I personally have never done it in Tableau Prep, but apparently it exists. And another thing that I did not show here is you can transform your data through pivots, which is pretty useful.
I have a question, Jake. How do you share these?
Sure.
Right. So if you build one of these and you want to share it with your team, right? I know if you have server, that likely facilitates that, right? But what if you don't, right? What if you just want to say, hey guys, here's this thing I ran, or I'm on vacation, you got to run this, or how do you facilitate and share this file with the rest of your group?
Sure. I mean, ideally they would have Tableau Prep. If they didn't, that'd be a stop automatically. But if they didn't have server, I mean, I'd probably put it on a network drive, and I am sometimes overkill with documentation. So, I mean, I've renamed all of these tools to the overview of what they're doing, but if you really wanted to get crazy, you could add a description and tell them exactly what's going on. But I think even beyond that, someone that has some level of familiarity with Tableau Prep or with data preparation in general, they should be able to click on these tools because they are visual. They should be able to go into the changes that Tableau is documenting automatically and see what's going on. So, I mean, along with having some sort of documentation, the tool is really built for people to get in and understand fairly quickly, even if you haven't built it.
Excellent. So we had a couple of questions come in too, Jake, so I'll just jump right to those. So one that's probably real, so another one, can you connect this to an API? And I'm assuming sourcing data from an API is your question, Maureen, or are you looking to output this to an API? Sourcing from an API. So is there like a web connector or something in here that you have?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Does anyone else know that? I can follow up if not, but I am not sure.
So there's a couple ways you could do this. You could use the script tool with Python to write your own connection into an API, grab that data, expose it that way. Or there's some ODBC, JDBC, so there's third-party drivers like CData, which allows you to connect to APIs. I didn't see the web data connector option in there. I don't know, Jake, if you see it. Writing a web data connector, very similar to kind of writing your own thing, would be the other way, but it doesn't look like web data connectors are supported in here. But those are the two ways that I would say you'd be able to connect to a API. A little bit of work, or you look for a driver that kind of does that for you.
Hopefully that answers your question to some extent, Maureen. And obviously, if you still want to continue that discussion around the scripting, feel free to go to the various connection points to the Tableau user group. This is great dialogue to have across the communities. Hit us up in Slack, hit us up on LinkedIn, all of the different places at which you can connect with us, continue that discussion and dialogue there to get maybe a bit more in-depth and technical on that one. Another question that came in was, what's the biggest tool you miss in prep compared to Alteryx? Just kind of tease off of the other one.
That's a good question. I don't know. The transform tool set in Alteryx is really nice. I mean, it
So you
exists
can
here, but it's
pivot
just really easy to use.
Yeah, okay. Well, sorry, I was just gonna, it was my question. I'm kind of curious, like, because you have a lot more experience with Tableau Prep than I do. You know, compared to Alteryx, like how much of Tableau Prep can like be, or how much of like maybe the work that you've seen done in Alteryx in the past before Tableau Prep even existed, do you think Tableau Prep can now account for? You know what I mean? Like, do you think it's like 80% or like, is my question?
Yeah, I think so. Alteryx is so powerful. So that's kind of a tough question because I want to say like 40%, but that feels like a disservice to Tableau Prep. Yeah, I would probably say 40%.
Yeah. So maybe like if you have really simple workflow or like workflows or transformations or joins, to your point that you need to lightweight things and Tableau Prep. I think what I find really cool about it, sorry to interject, but it's like this idea that it integrates so closely with like the rest of the Tableau ecosystem. Like if you have the data management add-on, which is what you need to schedule the workflows, like you now also get the lineage and what columns are used in your dashboards and sheets, and you can see it all within Tableau Server. And it just provides such a fantastic like end-to-end overview of, you know, what data is being used and where. Anyway, I feel like that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I haven't seen it used in that way, but I mean, that makes so much sense. If you could see all of that in your Tableau Server admin view, that'd be awesome. That'd be so great. And then
like
to just have
you a
one
reason like that to use Tableau Prep maybe over Alteryx when you can.
Yeah, in cases where it makes sense. Absolutely. I love that.
All right, one last question. I'm gonna kind of move us along here as we are kind of getting up against our break time here. So we had a question in here about, so based on your consulting work, who do you think the primary user of Tableau Prep is? Is this more of a, say, like a business line user? Would you see data engineers doing it? Would you see it, you know, running across business units and IT departments? Or how do you see this filling kind of the role within the whole analytics lifecycle from, you know, raw data all the way up through?
Yeah, I think the real target audience would be business users, because I would assume that, you know, an IT department would have maybe something homemade to do most of this work, and maybe they'd want to do it in something different, like maybe they have AWS and they're doing all their data preparation in Jupyter notebooks and Python or something. But I don't think it's crazy for both business and IT to be versed in this tool. When I was working in IT for a financial services company, I was helping pretty frequently the business, and we were building Tableau Prep workflows together.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I know that a lot of times, some of the times these tools will have a difficulty gaining traction, just either because certain departments, you know, won't necessarily know where they fit or trust them or worry about, you know, potential, you know, data sprawl or things like that could potentially happen. So I think that there's probably some folks out there that have those questions come up when they look to bring in a, you know, a data transformation tool or something like that. That's a little more, you know, rapid development or rapid value add or that in that sort of vein, that kind of gets some of the folks, you know, who like to lean on a lot of the tried and true governance practices to get a little scared on some of those things. So that could potentially be a
freak
piece
people
here.
out a little bit, but yeah, if you give it to the right people.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be a barrier for entry in here. It should be about the value, but I think that it's a good question because there is kind of, I think, a place and a position for this, and you wouldn't run it to master probably all of your enterprise data. and drive all of your,
Right.
transformations to your data warehouse in here. So, all right, I'm gonna move us along. Thank you very much, Jake. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that demo. That was fantastic. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to Jake. Let me put on let me share my screen again. So again, you can reach out to Continuous. You can reach out to Jake. Jake, I don't know if we can share your cell phone number and all of that stuff, right, with the whole group, if you're cool with that. If not, just LinkedIn and all that connection information. We can, if people have follow-up questions, we can share that out to the group.
Cool.
So, all right, it is 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock in Central Time. We've been going at this for a little while, so I'm gonna give a little bit of a break, just a quick one. And I'm gonna put just some notices up on here, and I'll toggle between a couple different ones that are up here. And then we'll meet back in say like 5 minutes. You guys good with 5 minutes? So whatever, 12:05, 1:05, you guys get it, right? 2:05, right? 10:05. You guys get it, 11:05. So we'll see everybody back here in about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna jump into the dashboarding piece of it. So, use the opportunity to get desktop fired up. We're gonna break out into rooms. I'll go over it on the details. It's nothing scary, right? We're all gonna be in this together. So yeah, stick with us. We'll see you all back in 5 minutes and go from there. So. All right, everybody. So probably all back by now. Sometimes when you're staring at the screen, 5 minutes takes a long time to go by. But hope everybody got a quick drink of water, took a break, got their Tableau desktop fired up, finished up their Tableau prep pieces, took some notes. I was flashing through a few different things on here, so I think we've got some community activities on the screen right now. There are links to a lot of these, so we'll make sure that we get those links posted either into chat or something like that. Maybe Michael, you can help me on that, since I think this slide came from the Phoenix side. And then also, if you haven't had a chance to see, we've got our roadmap out here for the Milwaukee coming up. As we have the whole Wisconsin Tableau user group with Madison and Milwaukee, and then the greater Wisconsin one, we've got a lot of stuff for you every single month. So everyone on here is welcome, right? You don't have to be in the Midwest or Wisconsin or any of that. We regularly get people from all across the globe. We've had folks in here before, so feel free to join us. Register out on our splash page, and then there's a couple different exciting events going on. So, Brandy, thank you for that, and for the book club. Do we have it? Where are you guys at in the book club one? I've been extremely busy lately, so I haven't been able to go to the recent one. But do you start one up in the fall?
Yes, yeah, so we do, well, this is actually just the first year that we've been doing the book club, but we read one book every 3 months or so. It certainly doesn't take us 3 months to read the book, but basically 4 book clubs a year. So we're gonna have a fall round very soon. We just finished the summer round, so it's now the perfect time to kind of like show that interest in that fall round. There's a link in the chat for that. And just add your name to the list and you'll be contacted about like what book we're going to choose. And basically we just get together virtually every other week until we finish the book. And it's kind of a good time. You meet different people and talk about data.
Excellent. And Michael, I see you jumping in here, answering some of the questions. There was a question while we were out around resources for folks that are super new. And one of the things that I like to point out to the group is sometimes when we do the polling like we did in the beginning, we ask how long folks have been involved in Tableau, or how many meetings they've been to and such like that. We get a lot of new people in here. So I want to emphasize, a large portion of the community, if you're new, is sitting in the same boat that you are. So feel free to speak up and join with us. There's a lot of experienced folks that do done. It's usually like a mix, like half and half. So use the community, use the user groups, and then as Michael's been posting, there's a lot of ways to engage on some of the learning topics and information out there. So I always like to go and engage people and try to understand their experiences, and look up the KB articles. Yeah, there's a lot of good tools out there, but the user groups are a great way for free consulting, free advice, experiences, sometimes some sit down stuff. So definitely lots of resources out there. So hopefully that gives you some places to start. Okay, I want to jump in to our next activity. So hopefully you guys all got your desktop fired up. Now the way this is going to work, so it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to use the Tableau breakout room feature, and I think there's still quite a few of us in here. We're going to break up into just 4 groups. So we're going to have a good cohort going on here amongst this. There'll be a lot of good ideas, a lot of good people to collaborate on. But we're gonna do this sort of like not straight up makeover Monday, but more of like build your own dashboard based off of the data set we just looked at, that Jake just did a demo on prep over. So you can kind of take it from, all right, raw data sets, curation into the visualization, delivering results, right? And if we want to think about it, right? So now we're in the dashboarding phase. So what's a good story to tell, right? What's some good insights that you want to focus on? And when we get into each of those groups, there's going to be one of the Tableau leaders in each of those groups. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves, right? This isn't like a go heads down or head on out. Build something, engage with it, ask questions. Everybody's going to be building on their own, and then when we come back, I think we're going to do 50 minutes of build-ish like that. You got it teed up for 50 minutes, Brandy, or how long do you have that teed up for in the breakout groups?
Well, yes, the agenda has it set for 50 minutes.
Yep.
So I'm just manually going to be alerting everybody about 10 minutes
Okay.
before we're done.
Okay. Sounds good. So we're going to jump into that. And hopefully it'll be a pretty good collaborative hands-on session. Is there any questions before we jump into the breakout? Post them in chat if you want to. And if not, like I said, there will be a leader in each one of the groups. And so you can lean on them for some examples, some questions. Also, there's likely going to be a lot of really smart, intelligent folks in the groups as well. So I think start off maybe talking a bit as a group about, I plan to at least, about some of the business cases, the storytelling that we might be able to do with this data set based off what we saw from Jake. So haven't seen any questions come in. So I guess, Brandy, let's dive in.
All right, here we go. I'm going to open up the rooms.
Stop
Have fun.
sharing.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. My guess is people are taking those last 60 seconds to get their dashboards finalized. Countdown is going. You see everybody's being forced to join the group. I was like, I bet everybody's like panicking right in the last 60 seconds, just like, what's the last thing that I need to do? So hopefully you all had fun. Josh, feel free to
Sure.
take it away.
Yeah, I enjoyed my group. It was really good. A lot of heads down and then some points of discussion. We interestingly ran into some duplicative data issues. I don't know if anybody else saw some issues with some of that in there.
I feel like we have like an inside person because somebody was like, hey, somebody else is having duplicate data issues. So there's like some side chatter.
Maybe there
going
was some
on.
side chatter going on. Yeah. So I think we've got some time reserved for folks to share. And then I think we are, looking to encourage folks to share by kind of handing out prizes towards the end if you do. So anybody want to share, either share their desktop or just talk about their experience, right? I think all our insights that they found or something like that. Obviously, if you want to share, we want to see some of those fun dashboards. I'll jump in and just share mine. It's very basic. Please don't judge, but I will kick it off as kind of the brave first person to jump in there and just chat about what I did. And I'll quickly turn it over to you guys just to kind of break the ice on here. So I was really looking for some of the statistics kind of at a team level across between the Bucks and the Suns. And I was looking at kind of things what I said are like positives and negatives. Not a sports guy, but I did pull into some things. So I was looking at personal fouls, turnovers to see if there was any indicators here, and on some of the blocks, defensive rebounds. And we talked a little bit about this. I think Theodore and our team also noticed some of these same things where you've got, so it looks like, Phoenix started strong, continued strong on some of them, blocks really good on blocks, picked back up on steals, but, did they really, did the Bucks just kind of continue to ramp that up over time and increase some of the positive momentum there? So it was just kind of an interesting
view. I love this take on it, like the little trend charts. Like they're like little like what some people refer to them as small multiples or spark lines.
Spark lines, it's a little bit. I was just playing around with it, and so this is where I got to. So again, like, see, just a little share, so it's not so bad. Who wants to go next? Feel free to share your screen or talk.
I'm not shy.
Right? Come off mute.
I can share.
This is your data set, man. You're probably gonna pull out something that's like you spent like 2 weeks on, and you're like, no,
I didn't
go
build
ahead, Jake.
anything.
Go ahead, Jake.
I didn't build
share.
anything before.
Please share.
Okay.
Jake's disqualified from swag, by the way.
What?
But he gets beers.
He's like, I'm not sharing anymore. Forget that.
Yeah, cancel.
I mean, everybody who shares or discusses kind of get something. So feel free to pipe in. All right, Jake.
I know. I'm sorry.
Are you showing me the timestamp on here? Is that what you're doing right now? Kidding.
I opened it and saved it from 3 weeks ago, just right now. Wow, the suspense. Okay.
It's gonna be amazing, right? Ooh, colors. I didn't have any colors.
A lot of colors. So I tried to do donut charts for the game totals to see the winner, and the winner is a calculated field. And then I have a little bit of a dashboard action on a hover to change the plus minus and the statistics. So you can see like the game breakouts.
Mm.
And then you can see the overall.
Yeah, I had to look that plus minus up, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't.
I think it's just like how effective they were in the game, like defensively and also offensively.
It's sort of a combined.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
Well,
I know it's important.
We had Tammy Brown on our team was like all ready with the stats and like explaining to me what the differences were. Great.
All right, who's next? You can even talk, right?
Yep.
Just to share what you thought.
Yep. So I have a thought I'll share if I could. It's actually something that Brandy brought up, but I've lived it a number of times. This is Tammy Brown, by the way. Someone, when Brandy was building our viz, someone made a point, or she made a point, that the Milwaukee Bucks, the second E in Milwaukee, was wrapping around in the axis caption or whatever. And she made a really good point. Don't spend too much time formatting your chart when it's just on a sheet, because 99 times out of 100, you'll have to redo that formatting when you put it on the dashboard. My biggest rookie mistake, I built a huge dashboard that has lots of sheets and lots of vizzes, and I always made sure to format the chart before I put it on the dashboard. And then I had to redo all the formatting all over again because something wasn't right. So that's probably one of my big takeaways from this kind of thing is wait until you build the dashboard and then worry about your formatting.
Yeah, those formatting things can kind of be like make you want to rage quit sometimes. So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Thank you, Tammy.
Yep.
All right.
I'll show mine if this is John Michael.
John, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I am a complete beginner here, so I didn't do a whole lot, but I was trying to see if there are any relationships. Is this big enough? Can you see what I've got going?
Yes.
So my initial thing that I was thinking about was, is there a relationship between offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds? So that's what this is right here. And I'm only looking at the Bucks. And so I was curious if a player has a high number of offensive rebounds, do they also have a high number of defensive rebounds? And of course, we see here that Giannis is up in the upper right-hand corner, actually for 3 out of the 4 things that I looked at here. And I thought it was interesting. So this is assists. So offensive rebounds, thinking that you get the offensive rebound and you toss it to somebody right away who gets a point. That wasn't quite as big of a relationship there. And then the other ones with points and personal fouls. And I, again, thought it was interesting. Giannis is up in the upper right-hand corner for those 2. And on all of these, kind of in the second place would be a Holiday. So that was pretty interesting. And then there was one other one that I had that was looking at, oh shoot, I forgot what it was. Defensive rebounds and personal fouls. And I guess I don't have that one up here anymore, but that's about as much as I was able to do with my beginner skills.
Oh, this is great. This is fantastic. I'm still trying to kind of look at this because I like the perspective here that you have. And so you're looking at Milwaukee here?
Yeah, this is just Milwaukee. I guess I could, let's see, how would I separate it out by team? There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of similar here. Yeah, this is actually pretty similar. So you got this guy has a similar pattern to Giannis. So a little bit lower on assists, but still, in there, and he's over on the right there too. So I don't know. Be fun to play with it some more. I think this is gonna be cool.
It is. Yeah. Interesting. Thank you very much. Thanks, John. Really good insight. I like it. I like all the different perspectives. It's really good to see.
I like how John was able to pick out another player that was very similar to Giannis, right? And I believe that the one that you were hovering over there on that visual is also like a 7-footer. So it'd be interesting. Like you could put a maybe color those shapes by position, the position they play, or put a position filter on there, and then you could filter by center or something and see how that compares.
Nope, they're different. Let's see, I can't tell the color here. Well, it looks like he was center, but Giannis isn't considered center, right? He power forward, so
yeah.
Similar position though.
All right, who's up next? Just a quick little. We got a little bit of time.
I can
Yeah, go
share
for it.
mine real quick. I don't want to, but I don't want to take away from somebody else that wants to share.
I can
Go ahead,
share
maybe
mine
I'll-
real quick.
All right, Derek.
So yeah, I can share. Mine is pretty simple. Basically, I'm looking to see basically were the players earning their salary during the NBA Finals? This is a pretty simple look at what basically their salary versus their production, so points per game, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. What you can notice is that like both teams, obviously they play their players who score a lot. That's not really surprising, but you look at the other categories, the highest paid Bucks players tended to perform higher in the other categories, such as rebounds or blocks or steals, whereas the Suns players that were paid higher pretty much just scored or had more assists. So maybe they weren't as good on the defensive end.
Yeah, interesting. This is really good. I really like this because you can see the ones that fall above and below and, you know, are maybe earning their pay and how far. We've got like, you know, see Paul here, right? So you've got some folks on, especially, and I think it'd be interesting to look at like defensive and offensive and then position too on this one. If you continue to build this out, I really like this.
So
Yeah.
Rachel actually had a question for you.
Yeah,
Derek.
I was just pulling that up.
Yeah, is that a parameter then that you're using to?
Yes, this
change
is a
the-
parameter. Yeah, because the data set has these different stats in different columns. So I use a parameter to drive the one that is being shown on the y-axis here. And then this label is a separate sheet so that it will actually,
Oh, that's
the
smart.
axis label will dynamically change.
Thanks. Good, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I put together.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Derek. All right. And someone would like love a copy or something like that. So that'd be great. If you want to share a copy, feel free to send it to the Phoenix Tug or Milwaukee Tug Gmail accounts. We can kind of share that out as well. So free to do that.
Okay.
All right. Who's up next? We still have a little bit of time. Do I need to start calling on people? No, I'm kidding. I won't do that. Maybe.
Sure.
I'll throw mine up there real
Okay.
quick.
Patrick, go ahead.
All right. I just did a few calculations, and basically my assumption here is that your whole salary is earned in the championship series. Now I know that that's not the case, but essentially when you're putting together a team and when you've been to the playoffs a few years in a row but haven't gotten to the championship, and you keep adding new players to your roster, you're really trying to get to the championship, right, and earn the trophy. So I just wanted to look and see like, well, how much are you paying to win that championship? And are there certain players that are maybe performing better to their salary than others? So I just pulled in salary, and then I looked at just, well, how many minutes are they playing? And what are their salaries per minute? You can see there are a couple outliers here from players that maybe only played a few minutes. So I added this filter up here, like, well, let's just, only look at players that at least played a minimum of 10 minutes a game. So that got rid of those outliers, or at least a couple of them. I added also a couple filters around, like, we're looking at the whole series here, but if you want to zero in on one of the games, maybe game 6, because it was so critical, or if you want to look at by position. But I just have in green here a couple of the more positive stats, right? Salary per points, salary per rebound, going back to points, I think, you look at like some of the players that came through, like Chris Middleton, you can see like doing a little bit better. And then in red here, I put more of the negative stats. So salary per personal foul or salary per turnover. So just a couple of quick things I did, and also did a couple of kitschy things, brought in the logos. So
Also, I like it because it gives you a perspective of like how much what you're paying for that. You're like, oof, well, I paid a lot for those points. Some of those folks you're like getting a nice little discount on. I mean, not discount compared to our salaries, but still you're like, wow, this person I only had to pay, like $96,000 per point.
yeah.
So yeah. I like
That's
it.
kind of assuming that looking at the salary chart, the first column, that you're sort of assuming that there's like just a linear relationship on the dollars, but it's more like a hockey stick there with the last 2 or 3 guys making up maybe more of a Pareto distribution. But I wonder if there are some other kind of stats that you could look at. Does the Giannis and Middleton, those really high paid players, if there's something that they do in the clutch, like if you're looking at points in the fourth quarter, or something like that gives them kind of a that premium.
Yeah, I was starting to think about that, like, again, going to like elimination games, or just like looking at game 6. Maybe would do that a little bit, but yeah, I think you're bringing up a very good point.
That's cool.
All right, Brandy, did you want to share? Did anybody else want to share? So again, we're, share, discuss, anything like that. You don't have to show your screen. Just share your thoughts.
I'll share my thoughts. I can't share my screen because it's on a different screen here. I'll just be pretty brief here. One thing that
we can see it reflected in your glasses.
Sure, that works.
It looks like it's from Tableau Public. Are you sure that's yours? No, I'm kidding.
One thing that I looked at specifically anyways was the plus minus. So how, like, when you're playing, when a specific player is playing, how often your team outscores the other team. And if it's negative, that means when you're playing, your team actually is outscored by the other team. Individually, I noticed that Drew Holiday was very high, but I got to cut that in half because his data was duplicated, but he was the main part of it. Let's see here. They outscored Phoenix by 37 points across the whole series when Drew Holiday was playing. And that was the biggest plus minus. And I know a lot of these players, so the Bucks were outscored when Jeff Teague was playing and Bryn Forbes were playing. And the Bucks actually got rid of those players after the season. One of them they didn't re-sign. I think both of them didn't re-sign. And then Bobby Portis, he was a main bench player, but when he was playing, their plus minus was 25, and they did re-sign him. So I think that's interesting how they're keeping these integral players a part of the team. And I think for Jeff Teague, they signed another backup point guard. So hopefully that negative plus minus is returned with a positive plus minus with this new player that they signed. So I thought that was interesting that they're keeping these players together that have better plus minus over the course of the off season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
just a lot of
basic one, just player name and then some plus minus across the rows.
Again, I pulled it into kind of my Sparkline sort of thing. It was like, this looks like it could have an angle on both plus or minus. And I was like Wikipediaing exactly what it meant. So thank you for the description you shared earlier. It's interesting. Sometimes they try to quantify those like overall performance statistics, or it's interesting to compare that to the individual stats, All right, I think we got time for one more. Comment, or insight or share or?
I can share.
All right, Brandy.
So there weren't, I certainly hope that there are people in our group that were building on their own, but I was sharing my screen, kind of talking through how I was doing it. And I do feel like there was a lot of feedback and help from the group that I was kind of with. So, so this is all of ours. But we kind of just started with like a breakdown of like the points by game, and obviously colored by the team. Tammy is like brilliant and knew what color. I mean, it seems like you should know what Phoenix Sun's color is, but I wasn't 100% sure. So Tammy helped me out with that. And then we're really interested in the stats by player, but we were trying to like, get it as condensed as possible, because we learned from Michael's trivia that you really shouldn't have too many sheets on one dashboard. So we kind of wanted to keep it simple. But we broke it out by teams so that we could like color the different like whatever table or tree, heat maps. That's something, these are obviously our Phoenix players and these are our Milwaukee players. And then we used independent coloring for each of the individual columns. So you can kind of see what players maybe stand out with certain stats. And then we added dashboard actions so that you could, so these are the player stats by like over the entire finals, but you can select a single game and look at the stats for a single player for a single game. So it just gives a little bit more detail that you can explore as well.
I like the exploration in here. It really is. And the color-coded tables really allow you to highlight
And
quickly
then, Sorry, Josh, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, Rachel mentioned that we did have some duplicate data. So we ended up figuring out that it was because of the salary data set that was like being.
Whoa.
Sorry. Salary data. And we ended up for like player rank or something. So we ended up identifying player ranks that were duplicate for two players and excluding them. So this is accurate. Does anybody from my group want to like chime in with anything else that we did that you thought was valuable? And that was all I had.
Thank you, Rachel. That's a good comment. Yeah. It's good to see people learning things. Go ahead.
I think
Someone was about to say something.
I was just going to say, in our group, we had a couple of really good questions. And one of the questions at the beginning was around just like, getting started. And in this case, I think it was kind of almost set up like sort of like some of the Viz competitions where you're given a data set and just go, figure out what story you want to tell. And so often in a more company setting, you're given a set of requirements or you're working towards an objective of like, this dashboard should tell us about productivity or, shipments we've made or sales, whatever it might be. So it's cool being able to start with a data set like this and just kind of choose your own adventure, so to speak. But sometimes it can be a challenge to kind of figure out where you start and what to start putting up on the page.
All right. So we've only got, let's jump back into the deck. I think that we're pretty much at the end. So as we mentioned earlier, I took down the names of a lot of the folks who engaged with us, and I'll take that as well as the list back to folks, and we will. I think we've collected information on. We should have at least email addresses for everybody registered. So that's I believe how we're going to do swag this go around. Hold on, let me get the slide deck back up. All right. So yeah, so I jotted down a lot of the folks, and I think we'll who did, as well as folks who commented in chat as well. So look for an email from us, and then we'll connect across the 2 leadership groups. We have a variety of items we're pulling together kind of for everyone who participated and reached out. So thanks everybody. This was really good. I think we're kind of at the end here. We'll drop some stay connected information out in our respective groups so we can kind of continue the discussion across teams. You know, on the Milwaukee side, we have a Slack channel, we have LinkedIn, we have events, all of that. Same thing on the Phoenix side. And I think, Michael, you did drop yours into the chat again. Do you want to drop it in maybe one more time into chat? And Brandy, if you could get the Milwaukee stuff, just put that into chat. And then, yeah, this is a great session. It was a little longer than we usually do the virtual ones, but it was really good to get some hands-on experience and then collaborate with a lot of folks and see some really cool dashboards and really cool perspectives here. So, and then Jake, I want to thank you for your demo on prep. I know that's one of the tools that's newer and it takes a little while to gain traction, but we really want to see, you know, I like to see the differences out there. So thank you and continuous for that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Any final comments, Phoenix side? Any closing comments you guys want?
I think Michael had to drop for an emergency phone call. I think the last thing I'll say is, if you guys don't mind, there's a lot of interest in getting access to the dashboards that everybody has put together. Because I think that we've just seen a lot of really, really awesome stuff. If you wouldn't mind emailing them to the Milwaukee Tableau user group, we can then kind of like centralize them, make them available for everybody. And this way you can like explore them and reverse engineer them. So shoot them over to our email address. I just dropped it in the chat. And I sent it to the wrong place. Anyway, not important. Email us your dashboards. We'd love to share them so that everyone can learn from your creations.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. That's a wrap for today. Again, we've got more events coming up, both on the Phoenix and the Milwaukee side. So check out those event pages and we'll see you next time. Thanks everybody.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Josh.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks everybody else too. This was good. It's a good one.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna end the meeting though, and have a good rest of your day.
Yep. Talk to you later. Bye. Have a good day.